Hello everybody, Thursday here, I'm back. I'm proud of me. I hope you are, because I can tell you, it's been such a while for me to even dare to say that I'm consistent here on this channel, because every single time I'm saying it, every single time I'm failing at it. So this is why I'm just trying, really staying away from me saying I'm gonna be consistent. This is the hope. It's not a hope. It's not a hope. It's me really seeing that as a way to coming back here and being more consistent for 2025. And who knows? Anything can happen at that point. I could be a lot more consistent. And I feel like for the third day, I'm feeling a lot more relaxed and a lot more laid back. I feel like the first 2 days that you've seen me and watched me, there was a lot of me to kind of just think about at the same time as me sharing things that I shared before or just the last couple of days. But this time around, it's not that I have nothing to say. I always have something to say. I'm talking a lot. And I feel like I'm not talking a lot, but at the same time, everybody around me just usually says that I'm talking a lot. So let's agree to disagree here while I'm on YouTube. At the same time, if you're on YouTube, kind of like talking a little bit here, like a little bit too much, maybe for the average person. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like for today, it's just a way where I have that contemplation phase or just feeling ever since the morning, doing the prayers and really getting and looking through my day and looking through my past and everything that I've been doing so far and where I am at the moment. I feel like there's just a lot of deeper thoughts and a lot more of that, just observing how I'm feeling and just trying to stay open to whatever I hear from the Lord. And that comes down to just me looking to my future, looking to the things that I want to do, especially here online. My channel has always, especially this newer channel, the Take It as a Wake Up Call, was really much more an idea here to kind of talk a bit about everything. Definitely talking more about God and the Lord, but I guess back then I felt a little bit more ashamed, not even ashamed, a little bit more scared to kind of just talk more about God and really trying to separate everything from just me being the coach, me talking about camera gear and just being really geeky about it, and then talking about Jesus, about just my faith as a Catholic person, and really trying to kind of put everything together, because at the end of the day it's the same person, and everything that I'm aligning towards is to really take the Lord as a priority in my life, regardless of whatever I'm doing behind it. But what I'm sharing here on YouTube is definitely more than that. It's a lot more about me being creative, me talking about YouTube, me talking about social media, me being a coach, and really talking about the confidence, because I just have that big feeling that ever since that I was really looking for a way to know how I can be useful, especially here online, I never necessarily thought about just reaching out to God and coming back to the Lord and being like, what do you want me to do, right? What is your will? And for me, it's been a newer thing to really have to just think about it as well, and not just deciding for myself, deciding for people that I care about, deciding for my future and people that I care about in my life, but first of all, deciding about the person, my savior, who is Jesus Christ, because everything is around him, right? But I found it a really difficult process sometimes to just kind of align all of that and not feeling like I would maybe just bother some people, especially because I know that, especially online, every coach that I've heard, and I'm not saying that we don't have Christian coaches, I've come to kind of discover a couple of them, right? And that was literally at the moment where I was actually started to looking more for that Christianity in the coaching world and the confidence world, because to kind of get back to where I'm even coming from to where I am now, where I'm really contemplating the idea of just being a saint and really getting to the sainthood and appreciating that, right? And a lot of things that just comes with it. I've been at a place where I really was talking about just being a creative, right? Being a creative person and really play along with that energy that you have to just being unique, original, standing out, all those things. And that literally touched a lot of things in my life. And I love graphic design. I'm just falling more and more with it. I love video editing. I used to just video edit everything. Like my first passion was actually editing. That what literally brought me here on YouTube. And then when I got to just start editing videos and just finding my passion through it, it was all about just showing, let's say, my style, my fashion sense, and really helping people, helping women to kind of dress up better and really understanding the shape and really find their own confidence through dressing up, right? And then at some point, I got not necessarily bored, but there was just something missing. Oh, I couldn't even pinpoint what, but I was like, there's just something missing. There's the confidence, there's the appeal of just dressing up, but I felt it was still literally very much superficial for me. Then I moved on. I started talking more about videos, about YouTube, about social media, because that was that side where I was just editing. And I started getting clients where I would edit the videos and really work on the project and all those stuff and really working on the graphic design part of. And it was so interesting for me. I definitely learned a lot, and I learned that I love editing. But then after starting editing so much, I kind of just found myself just wanting more and craving for more of that, because I was like, it's just not enough. I know it was the theme, it was the recurring theme for me. It was not enough. I was editing, I was working on it, I was creating those moments. And what I love about videography more than that, what I love in photography, for example, because I'm just not a photographer, that's for sure. I love taking pictures like real quick, but when it comes to me, I'm not doing I'm just not finding that passion in just taking pictures. So the videos for me, it's just the movement, right? And there's a side of me, I love dancing. And I think it's something that I forgot that I love doing until recently. Just me watching a lot of dancing videos, all those trends, and a lot of trends. Like this, the last one was apatu 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 apatu. Like literally, you hear that everywhere. I forgot the name of the singer, and yeah, I just forgot, but you definitely would recognize it. So anyways, all of that to say that I found my passion just dancing, which kind of connected to the video because it's just a lot of movements, a lot of creativity around just moving and really creating those moments around the movement in general. But again, it was not just enough. I was like, there's just something again here missing. And I love creating the moments, like when you're watching videos, and even more before than now, where I'm really going back to the simpleness of just being here in front of the camera and just being myself, which is something that I was not used to do as much. I was more used to really bring out all the shine bright like a diamond and all the graphics, and really was hanging more into the graphics than me relying on myself, my own voice, my own confidence to just show up here without having to have all the extra great graphics that I love. I still love them. But I was relying more onto those things than just me being here and just talking like I'm doing now. And when I was editing videos and I loved all of that, I was still missing the piece, the one piece. I was still missing it. And I was like, I don't know why. Yes, it's good, but I'm still craving for a lot more. And then after that, I started really diving deep into the coaching part. And that was through one of my very first clients, where I was literally just talking about confidence, but I couldn't necessarily pinpoint what I wanted to do with it, right? Because I have so many passions. I'm a multi-passionate. I could do a lot of things where I can use my creativity. I love it. But the idea of just being confident and helping people with the confidence was just a vague idea for me. And it's still a little bit vague, to be honest. But it just started to be more clear because I was starting to understand that I had to ask to the Lord to kind of help me through it. But before that, everything was vague. I was seeing the confidence playing into whatever I wanted to do with the coaching. And every coach person that I would see and discover online would talk about self-confidence and everything related to your mindset, your mind in general. And I'm just so drawn to everything happening between your ears. Like, I love it. Whatever happening in your brain. This is something with psychology, because I studied in it. That just made me so much more curious and intrigued about like somebody way of thinking. The thought process of anyone just is really just amazing to me. Like, I love discovering that. I love asking questions. I love to understand. And I'm always gonna try to ask more questions to kind of really get deeper, and even for me to kind of make them make sense of whatever they're feeling, right? To kind of being able for them to put words into whatever they're feeling. But there was so much that I wanted to do on top of that, that nothing made much sense for me to do one thing. So I kind of moved away from just editing to kind of getting into the coaching world, where I was just seeing myself being able to do much more just than coaching. It was editing videos, it was a creativity, but it was really helping people to just getting at such a level where they kind of understand themselves and understand their own voice. But what I started to realize, that it was not their voice only, but it was them, but the Lord working through them for them to be able to use the word, the voice out there online through whatever they would do, right? Whatever project idea they would have here online, on social media, and even in real life. Everything that I was seeing happening and that I'm starting seeing happening more, it's just the Lord working through them and them starting to make that make sense to them, to then clarify more of that relationship that they would have to build up with the Lord through just being more confident in themselves. I hope that makes sense. It literally just started connecting in my mind when I'm just sharing that with you here, but it was something like that. It is something like that. So whatever I had in mind was really close to what I just shared, but at the same time, every person that I discovered here on social media, and even my own mentors that I kind of worked in a couple of just programs, it was not that they were not good, but the faith, Christianity, was the missing piece, right? It was like, yes, you can talk about manifesting, you can talk about being confident and just being about you, as in you, the person, you, the actor in your life, actress in your life. Like, it's really about you, but at the same time, it's not about you. And that's something that I starting to realize so much more now, that it's not about you. I've been saying that for so many years. And when I was saying that, definitely was making sense, but today it makes so much more sense, because when I started to just see all those little things where I was just missing the biggest piece, which is the Lord, which is Jesus, everything started to make sense from the moment I understood that I had to rely on Him more than on myself, right? Everything started to align a little bit more, and everything is starting to align a little bit more. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it's just so much clear for me now. It just means that it's just getting a little bit more clear the more that I'm just saying yes every day. The more that I'm saying yes to every little thing, thought, and just movement, and move in my own heart to just go and do whatever that I'm being called to do. But again, nothing makes sense because you don't have the end goal in a way, but you have those little steps because you just keep asking to the Lord. And when you get to be that creative entrepreneur that I am, when you don't see a lot of people just relying on the Lord like that, you're just feeling more confused because you're just always drawn to want to do the same thing that you see out there, especially the people that actually that are successful, right? And they are successful, they don't necessarily relying on their own faith, and maybe they don't have faith at all, maybe they're not Christians at all, and you see them being successful, and then you kind of understand or just assuming that you should be like that. to actually have the same success. And I think that's where I started to just be a lot more wrong, and I started to be a lot more confused, because I started to realize a lot more into people's success without what I wanted to see for myself in them, right? And when I started to just keep asking to the Lord, what do you want for me? What do you want for me? What is the purpose of being here? Because the idea that I had before was, yes, creative entrepreneur, have your coaching business, have a video editing agency and the graphic design. I have all of those ideas. I still have all of those ideas. But I would have all of it, but still I would just sense that it was not about it, right? And every coach, I would hear a lot of manifestation, because it is the trend now, right? Like every person that I could talk to that I kind of know, like around me, it's all about like the manifestation process, right? Kind of the that idea of just kind of seeing whatever you want to see in your mind and just deciding for yourself, and then it's gonna happen in real life at some point. I mean, I'm sure there's something a little bit more detailed to it, but it's pretty much the main idea. But again, when you get back to just being Christian, you understand that your end game and your end vision have to be aligned with whatever the Lord wants for you. And it doesn't mean that it's going to say no to everything that you want. That's not what I mean here. What I mean is to just have at least the habit of always go back to Him and ask Him. It's as simple as that. Ask Him what is your will. And I can tell you, from the moment, I remember the moment where I literally asked for one of those first times, and it was not that long ago, when I was like, okay, what do I have to do? Like, what is my purpose, right? And I was not necessarily completely lost, but I was like, there's more than that, but what is this? And I remember asking and be like, what do you want from me? And I think it was the day, 2 days after, a couple of days after, it was not long after, then I kind of came across a video of one of the Christian YouTuber that I watch a lot, that was talking about the purpose for any Christian in life, right? And was to kind of just make the Lord's will, understand that, relying on that, whatever you do, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a teacher at your school or you're just like an average normal person, it's always about just relying on whatever the Lord wants for you. And there was a lot more of that entrepreneurship as well, but it was all relying on just the Lord's will for you, the Lord's love for you. And it made so much sense. And I was like, okay, I understand, God. Okay. And then after that, I started to have that call, because I started to read more books naturally. And again, another video that I was watching, I just feel the call of starting to read a couple of books. And one of them was from Saint Teresa d'Avila in French. And she's one of the doctor of the church, and she is a mystic, and she was talking about just getting closer to God for her journey about it. And I felt so much more similar to her in her journey. Of course, she's a doctor, one of the doctor of the church, so it's not a level. But what I meant to say is that her journey really started like the same way as a lot of people, right? It was nothing magical, nothing like especially unique, especially at the beginning of it. It's what she made out of it that just made it to such a next level. And her book, the book that I read, was The Interior Castle. And it's that book opened the door to so many things that I was not even thinking about. And that's how I started just to think about like sainthood. And it just starting to be just more clear for me. It's like beyond having a success, let's say on YouTube and on social media and having a business and all those beautiful things, like compared to like if you base that on what people like to see, right? Having the great successful business, beyond all of that is to be so close to the Lord that you becoming a saint. It's that simple. Well, it's simple, but it's not easy. And then everything started just connecting, like little things, little details, little actions that I just stopped doing altogether. And it was something so progressive for me. It was not the overnight shifting, and it's still that process that I'm having here, that I'm going through here. But the main idea for today was really to share like where I'm coming from, where I'm going, and everything in between. And for me to even say that I want to become a saint, I want to be that saint. It's such a grand it's it's beyond what anyone can even believe to be at that point, but at the same time, it's achievable for everyone because God gave that to us. He did. Now it's really up to you to open it and say yes the first time and keep saying yes even when you feel like it doesn't make sense for you because He loves you, and just because of it, you gotta trust that, right? Enough to keep going. And in your own creative entrepreneurship journey, it's gonna be the same thing, right? It's not gonna be about making money the most, it's gonna be how can I obey to His will, right? And if you get to be successful along the way, even better. But that's not the main priority here. So, and I think in the world that we live in today, it's really about just the success. And my mentor, the person that I'm with at church that just helping me and just guiding me through just preparing myself through getting to my confirmation, just said that the other day, like last Sunday, during the last session, it was like the problem with the world today is that we don't know sin no more. There's no sin, right? There's nothing bad that you can say because everything is just relative now. It's like, yeah, but it's not that bad compared to something else. Yeah, but you can do that, but it's not that bad. Like, it's not good, but it's not that bad, right? And you're gonna see that kind of narrative a bit of everywhere. Worst case, I feel like it's really when you get into, let's say, companies, depending where you work, you're gonna have a lot of narratives like that because it's really where you see people just removing God so much, then they just getting with just they settle because it could be better than that. They just are not aware of it because they remove the main part that would make it even better, right? So they're getting to a point where they just settle. They're just like, it's not that bad, it could be worse. And even when it's gonna get worse, it's still not gonna be too bad because it can get worse. But the idea of just getting better with just you building that relationship with Jesus is something that is just so far away now, especially here in the Western society, because it's still a different dynamic when, let's say, I go back to my continent in Africa, where the relationship with God is still a lot more stronger. A lot of more people just take it so much seriously to have that relationship and really being Christian and all that stuff than what we see here right now. So it's hard to kind of just observing all of that and not wanting to be a part of it sometimes because it just feels so easier to just say yes and just be part of the crowd, right? And not having to just having debates and just saying no when you have to because you know it's not your path, and your path is just really getting to become the saint and helping people along the way, right? But to help people along the way, you have to work on that brokenness through you being held by the Lord first, and then you get to help other people along the way as well. So it was a lot. I feel like it was a longer video today because I just felt inspired like that, but I hope it made sense for you. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. All the best, hopefully, because tomorrow I don't know when I'm gonna be able to finish my day, but the point here is that I'm gonna do my best to show up. So I'm gonna see you for my next video, and like I say all the time, keep smiling because it's free and contagious in a good way. Bye.